Then the middle finger represents the direction of motion of the charge. Due to this current element, what is the magnitude of magnetic field is given by, here I consider a small part of this current carrying loop, that is the current element. Hello dear students, I am Maitri, Faculty of Physics, Vidyashram, Temple of Excellence. Now in this session, we will discuss the motion in magnetic field. So first I consider a charge which is moving perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field. And you know, the cross represent the magnetic fields are into the plane of paper. That is, the magnetic field line here, it is into this board. All this magnetic field lines are into this board, and this cross, observe that they are at equidistance and parallel. That is, this magnetic field is uniform. In a uniform magnetic field, the charge Q is moving with the velocity. That direction of velocity is perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field. Now, what is the direction of force acting on this moving charge which is perpendicular to the magnetic field? Let us find that using, to find the direction of force, you have to use the Fleming's left-hand rule. According to that, the thumb represents the force acting on the moving charge and the forefinger represents the magnetic field direction. Then the middle finger represents the direction of motion of the charge. So in that direction, let us keep this, all the fingers. This is the direction of the motion of charge, yes. And magnetic field is represented by the forefinger. Now the magnetic field is into the plane of paper, correct? Okay, now look at the thumb. This gives the direction of the magnetic force acting on this moving charge, which is perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field. Look at this, all are perpendicular to each other. So this magnetic field and this is the direction of motion of the charge, both are in perpendicular to each other. So when both are in perpendicular to each other, the force is also perpendicular to the magnetic field and the direction of motion. Now in this case, this force is towards the center. Observe this, the force is towards the center. Yes. If the charge goes on moving, the force direction is towards the center at every point. At every point, this magnetic force direction is towards the center. And the magnetic force is given by QVB sine theta. Theta as your velocity and magnetic field are perpendicular. So it is 90 degree. Sine 90 value is 1. By that, the maximum force acts on this charge which is equal to QVB. So this force is towards the center, therefore it is a centripetal force. The magnetic force acts as a centripetal force. And you know the expression for the centripetal force? Centripetal force is given by mv square by r, where m is the mass of the charge, v is the velocity of the charge, and r is the radius of the circular path followed by the charge. Now consider this as the equation 2 and the previous one as the equation 1. From equation 1 and 2, LHS is same. So we can equate the RHS, which is centripetal force is equal to magnetic force. In this equation, one of the V gets cancelled and we have the expression for the radius of the circular path followed by the charge particle when it is perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field is given by mv by qb, where m is mass of the particle and r is the radius of the circular path. Here you have to make a note that when the velocity is, that is the direction of motion of charges perpendicular to the magnetic field, what is the trajectory of the moving charge? It is circular path. So the charge moves in circular path, and in this case the magnetic force on the moving charge is maximum, which is equal to QVB. Very important point that you have to remember: when V is perpendicular to B, charge follows the circular path. In this case, the force is maximum and it is equal to QVB. Next, let us find the angular frequency as it is following the circular path. So, angular frequency is denoted by omega. Omega is equal to 2 pi f, where f is the frequency. You know the relation between the angular frequency and the linear frequency. That is, omega is equal to 2 pi f. And you also know V is equal to R omega, which you have studied in the first POC system of particles chapter. This relation, that is linear motion, is related to the angular motion by the factor r, where r is the radius of the circular path. Now you know the expression for the radius of the circular path, which is mv by qb, and omega is related to 2 pi f. So from this, f is equal to qb by 2 pi m. QB by 2 pi m, where Q is the charge, B is the magnetic field, and M is the mass of the charge. Now, angular frequency is equal to, from this, angular frequency is equal to 2 pi f, where f is QB by 2 pi m, where 2 pi cancel. So, angular frequency omega is equal to QB by m. Or you can use this equation and directly find out the angular frequency omega is equal to V by R. V by R, where R value is mV by QB. So, VV cancel. The expression for the angular frequency is QB by m. Next, frequency is equal to 1 by t, where t is the time period. Then the time period is equal to 2 pi m by qb, as it is the reciprocal of frequency. So these are the quantities which we have expression in circular path. One is radius, another one is angular frequency, third one is frequency, linear frequency, and the reciprocal of linear frequency is time period, whose expression is 2 pi m by qb. The next case is when the charge moves, that is the angle made by the charge is greater than 0 degree and less than 90 degree. Let us find out what is the trajectory of the moving charge in this case. So here the angle made by the moving charge with the magnetic field is greater than 0 degree, less than 90 degree. First, we will consider theta is equal to 0 degree. So, when theta is equal to 0 degree, that is the charge is moving in the direction of magnetic field. So, no force act on this charge. When there is no force on the moving charge, so the charge follows the same path, that is, if it is moving in straight line, it follows the straight line. So this you have to remember, when theta is equal to 0 degree, the path followed by the moving charge is straight line. Next, theta is equal to 90 degree, that is, velocity of the charge and magnetic field are perpendicular to each other. The maximum force acts on the charge, which is given by QVB. In this case, the charge follows circular path. The charge follows circular path. Now our case is between these two, that is greater than 0 degree and less than 90 degree. This is the case where the charge follows both, as it is between 0 degree and 90 degree. So it has to move in straight line and it has to rotate. So when we combine these two, we have the helical path. So the path followed by the charge when it is moving with the angle greater than 0 degree, less than 90 degree with the magnetic field, that is helical path. So let us understand this. So here the velocity makes an angle theta with the magnetic field. That theta is greater than 0 degree, less than 90 degree. So observe here, V is not perpendicular to magnetic field or not parallel to magnetic field. It is between, that is making an angle theta with the magnetic field. Therefore, here the velocity of the charge is resolved into two rectangular component as it is in the plane. The motion of the charge here, it is in plane. So whenever a particle or a charge moves in plane, the velocity of that is resolved into two component. One is parallel component and another one is perpendicular component. The parallel component here, it is V cos theta and the perpendicular component is V sin theta, and you know how to resolve it. So let me recall that. The angle made by the velocity with which axis? Look at the axis. It is with the axis x, that is the magnetic field is in the direction of x-axis. Now, when theta is with the x-axis, velocity which is resolved, and along the x-axis we will have the component that is V cos theta. Because here the theta is with respect to x-axis. If it is with the y-axis, then you would have considered here for the y-axis as V cos theta. So now along x-axis the component of velocity is V cos theta and along y-axis the component is V sin theta. So the opposite direction, that is for y-axis, the component is sin theta. So this V sin theta, as it is along y-axis, therefore it is considered as perpendicular component to the magnetic field. And V cos theta is in the direction of magnetic field, therefore it is the parallel component of velocity. So parallel component is V cos theta and perpendicular component is V sin theta. Observe here, V cos theta is in the direction of magnetic field. Is in the direction of magnetic field. So V cos theta makes an angle 0 degree with the magnetic field. Therefore, force on the moving charge due to this component is 0. But V sin theta makes an angle, that is it is perpendicular to the magnetic field. As it is perpendicular, it has to follow circular path. So both the components act at a time. Therefore, the charge follows the helical path. First, it moves, then goes round. Again, it moves forward and goes round, which is nothing but helical path. Yes. So in this helical path, the velocity, that is parallel component of velocity, remains unchanged and the perpendicular component keeps changing. Therefore, the charge has circular path and moves forward, so it follows helical path. In this helical path, let us define the pitch. What is a pitch? Pitch is the distance moved along the magnetic field in one rotation. For example, let us consider this as the initial position of the charge. Yes. And due to the perpendicular component, it follows the circular path. Yes. And it won't stay in that position as there is parallel component which makes the charge to move forward, then circle, forward and circle. This is helical path. In this helical path, for one rotation, what is the distance covered? For one rotation, what is the distance covered along the direction of magnetic field is known as pitch, and it is denoted by the letter P. So, as it is a distance is equal to cover this distance, which velocity is responsible? Parallel component of velocity is responsible because we consider the distance along the direction of magnetic field. The distance along the direction of magnetic field. Therefore, here we consider the parallel component of velocity and we are calculating it for one rotation. One rotation, the time taken is known as time period. Time period. So, time period is denoted by T, capital T. Next, let us substitute the parallel component of velocity, which is v cos theta, and in the circular path, the time period which we have the expression 2 pi m by qb. Therefore, for the pitch, the expression is v cos theta 2 pi m by qb. This is the helical path in which we define the pitch. What is the pitch? Pitch is the distance along the direction of magnetic field in one rotation, whose expression is v cos theta 2 pi m by qb. And the next very important point is the radius of the circular component. Radius of the circular component in helical path is known as radius of helix. Radius of helix. Yes. Next, the very important point is to know what is current element before knowing the Biot-Savart's law, which is a very important law in this chapter. So, what is current element? Current element is a product of current and the length, that is if I consider a conductor carrying current I, in this we will consider a small segment in this conductor of length L, the small segment dl into current flowing in that I is nothing but current element. Due to this current element, what is the magnitude of magnetic field is given by Biot-Savart's law, very important law. So, consider a current element IDL of this current carrying wire. Due to this current element at point P, what is the magnitude of magnetic field? As it is a very small segment of the current carrying wire, the strength of the magnetic field due to this current element is also small. Therefore, we consider it as a dB. The magnitude of magnetic field dB at point P due to current element. Current element is product of current and the length of very small segment of current carrying wire is directly proportional to current in the wire or the current element, and it is also directly proportional to the length of the current element, that is dl. and directly proportional to the sine theta. Observe the picture. The theta is the angle made by the DL with the point P. To this angle, the dB is directly proportional, and it is also inversely proportional to the square of distance. Consider the distance R. Yes, R is between the current element and the point of observation, means the point where we are finding the magnetic field. This is the statement of the Biot-Savart's law. Now, keeping the statement, the expression for the Biot-Savart's law, or the equation which represents the Biot-Savart's law, is dB is directly proportional to current, directly proportional to length of the current element, and directly proportional to sine theta, inversely proportional to square of distance between the current element and the point P, where the proportional is replaced by a proportionality constant. The constant is mu naught by 4 pi. In this, mu naught is the permeability of free space. What is permeability? Permeability is the ability of the medium. Is the ability. Name itself gives a meaning. Ability of the medium to allow magnetic field lines. Magnetic field lines. If it is permittivity, then you have to consider electric. Here it is permeability, and we are dealing with the moving charges and magnetism. So it is the magnetic field lines, and whose value is mu naught by 4 pi value is 10 power minus 7, and SI unit is Tesla meter per ampere. The SI unit of the constant is Tesla meter per ampere. So this is all about the Biot-Savart's law. Now let us represent the Biot-Savart's law in vector form. So you know the Biot-Savart's law, dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi is the proportionality constant, and dB is directly proportional to I, directly proportional to DL, directly proportional to sine theta, and inversely proportional to R square. Inversely proportional to R square. As we have to represent this in vector form, so dB, that is magnetic field, is a vector quantity. Consider its direction as R cap, where R cap is, what is R cap? R cap is a unit vector, nothing but a direction vector which gives the direction of the magnetic field. According to definition of unit vector, R cap is equal to R vector by R. R vector by R. Now in the place of R cap, you consider this. In the place of R cap, consider vector R by R. R into R square is R cube, and dB is a vector quantity. So it should be a cross product of two vectors, where we have one vector, that is R, and what should be the another vector? The another vector is the length. Another vector is the length. Therefore, in vector form, dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi of dl cross r of I by r cube, of I by r cube. So consider length as a vector quantity in this chapter. So this is the vector form of Biot-Savart's law. Now, very important application of Biot-Savart's law is magnetic field on the axis of a circular current carrying loop, which is of 5 mark. Using the Biot-Savart's law, we need to find the magnetic field on the axis of a circular current carrying loop. So consider a circular current carrying loop and look at the direction of the current. The direction of current is anti-clockwise. Anti-clockwise. So don't change the direction of the current. You know that when you change the direction of the current, the direction of the magnetic field also changes. So when I consider the direction of current in anti-clockwise, this is the direction of the magnetic field. When I consider in clockwise, the direction of magnetic field will be towards the left. Now, how to find the direction of the magnetic field around this current carrying circular loop? To find that, you use the right hand thumb rule. Yes, consider a straight wire. First, I consider the straight wire to make you understand the thumb rule easy. So, in this, the direction of current is upwards. Now, what is the field pattern? That is magnetic field. To know that, use the right hand thumb rule. Right hand thumb rule, where thumb in the direction of current. Yes, thumb in the direction of current, and the curved fingers represent the direction of magnetic field. So consider this as a conductor carrying current. The direction of current, if it is upward, then the direction of magnetic field around this current carrying wire will be concentric circular circles, and this wire will be at the center of the circle. So this is the field pattern, and whose direction is in anti-clockwise. The direction of magnetic field is anti-clockwise when the current is upwards. If the current is downward, yes, current downward, again use the right hand thumb rule to find the direction of magnetic field. Now look at this, the current is in clockwise direction. Around this, the current is in clockwise direction. So, when you change the direction of current, the direction of magnetic field also changes. But here we don't have a straight wire, we have a circular wire carrying current. The current is in anti-clockwise direction. Whenever it is in an anti-clockwise direction, here you have to use the right hand thumb rule. The direction of current is represented by the thumb, and around this, the magnetic field. Look at the magnetic field. The magnetic field are circular loops. The direction of magnetic field around the circular current carrying loop. Yes, in all direction. You can observe in all point around that point, or every part of this is a straight wire, where around that the magnetic field is a concentric circles. Now, keeping that, the direction of magnetic field, the point P, the point P lies at a distance x from the center of the circular loop, and this line represents the axis of the circular loop. The line which is passing through the center of the circular loop is known as the axis of the circular loop. On this axis, we need to find the magnetic field. So, I consider a point P which is at a distance x from the center. At this point, due to this current carrying, or let us consider a very small segment in this circular loop, that is current element. Due to this current element, the direction of magnetic field at point P is in the plane, and it makes an angle alpha with the x-axis. Therefore, let us resolve this dB into two components, one along the x-axis, one along the y-axis. So, along the x-axis, the component is nothing but the parallel component, and along the y-axis is the perpendicular component. So observe how to resolve this. Look at the angle is with the x-axis, therefore the parallel component here it is dB cos and the angle is alpha. In opposite direction, dB sin alpha. So these are the two components of the magnetic field at point P. And according to Biot-Savart's law, dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi ideal sine theta by r square, where ideal is a current element and r is the distance between the point P and the current element, which is small r. Yes. Now, what is the radius of the circular loop? Let us consider the radius of the circular loop as the capital R. Now, what is the angle between? Next, we have to find the angle between the DL, direction of DL, and the point P direction. Between that two, the angle is 90 degree. 90 degree. So, sine 90 is 1. For example, let us know how the angle is 90 degree. For more clarity, consider this as the circular current carrying loop. Yes, now circular current carrying loop, and the upward. Here I consider a small part of this current carrying loop, that is the current element whose direction is in the direction of current. So always the direction of the current element is in the direction of current. So in the direction of current, the current is in anti-clockwise. So anti-clockwise, and the point P lies on the axis, and it is perpendicular to the direction of the current element. Like this, it is perpendicular to the direction of current elements. Therefore, the angle between the direction of current element and the point where we are finding the magnetic field is 90 degree. So, sine 90 value is 1. Sine 90 value is 1. In the next step, dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I dl. Sine 90 value is 1. And using the Pythagoras theorem, we have r, x in this triangle. Find out the r square. R square is equal to x square plus r square. This is using the Pythagoras theorem. So, in the place of r square, what we have is x square plus r square. And we have resolved the magnetic field into two rectangular components, one along the x-axis and the other one along the y-axis. The component along y-axis, the components, because observe here, for every current element, there is an opposite current element which produces the magnetic field at a point P. The direction of magnetic field at a point P, is in opposite direction. And when we resolve this into two components, dB sin alpha, dB cos alpha, and the magnetic field due to the current element which is in opposite direction to the initial one is in the direction of dB, which is in the direction opposite to the upper one. Okay, we will resolve this by considering the angle along the x-axis even for the first one. Then the dB cos alpha, and we have the dB sin alpha after resolving. Look at the perpendicular components, equal in magnitude, opposite in direction. Therefore, the y components cancel out, but the x components, due to all the current element, are in the same direction. Therefore, the x components add up. Y components equal and opposite, they cancel out. The components along x-axis add up. The total, then the total magnetic field due to the circular current carrying loop, not due to the current element. First we have considered the current element, then we are considering the circular loop. Therefore, we write here the net magnetic field due to circular loop is only along x-axis, as y-axis cancel out. So, the total magnetic field, you have to integrate all the small current element to get the total magnetic field. So, integrate this magnetic field which is along the x-axis, which is equal to integration of along the x-axis, the component is dB cos alpha. And what is the cos alpha from the picture? Now consider this figure to find out the cos alpha, where this theta is in the Biot-Savart's law, that is different from the alpha. Alpha is between the radius and the r, and theta is between the dl and the r. So the alpha is given by this alpha. On solving all this, you will get the alpha. Okay. So keeping that alpha, let us find out the cos alpha. Cos alpha is equal to adjacent by hypotenuse. So the side which is opposite to the angle is opposite, and to the 90 degrees hypotenuse. The rest one is adjacent. Therefore, the adjacent here is capital R by hypotenuse is small r. So, what is the cos alpha value? Cos alpha value is R by R, that is capital R by small r. And you know by Pythagoras theorem, the small r is the root of x square plus r square. The root here I have represented in terms of power. So, cos alpha is equal to r by x square plus r square whole to the power of 1 by 2. Let us substitute in the next step. Then, the magnetic field along the x-axis, which is equal to integration of mu naught by 4 pi I dl by x square plus r square. In the place of cos alpha, we have r by x square plus r square whole to the power of 1 by 2. Now, multiply this 2, then the power for the x square plus r square is 3 by 2, and take out all the constant out of the integration. Integration nothing but addition. All the constant you have to take out of the integration. The constant is mu naught 4 pi. Current in the loop is constant. Radius is constant. And only the change is dl. That is, we have to add all the current element. By adding all the current element, you get the circular loop due to which you are finding the magnetic field. So, by adding all this dl, length dl, by adding all dl, you get a circumference of the circle. The circumference of the circle is 2 pi r. So, the magnetic field due to circular loop carrying current on its axis is B, which is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I r 2 pi r is the circumference of the circle divided by x square plus r square whole to the power of 3 by 2. And remember, this magnetic field is along only x-axis because the y-axis components cancel out. And finally, multiplying this r and cancel out this 2 pi, you have B along x-axis is equal to mu naught by 2 I r square by x square plus r square whole to the power of 3 by 2. This is the magnetic field due to current carrying circular loop on its axis. And what is the direction of magnetic field? It is along the x-axis. The direction of magnetic field is along the x-axis. Now let us represent in vector form, as magnetic field is a vector quantity. So the unit vector along x-axis is I cap. So represent the I cap, which gives the direction of the magnetic field. If this circular loop has n turns, instead of one turn, if it has n number of turns, then just add n to this equation. Add n to this, that capital N represents the total number of turns. Instead of point P, which lies at a distance x, so we found the expression for the magnetic field at point P, which lies at a distance x from the center. If that point is considered at the center, if the point P is considered at center, that is at the center, what is the magnitude at center? What is the magnetic field due to circular current carrying loop? So what you have to do when you consider the point P to the center, the x value becomes 0. So in this equation, consider the value for the x as 0 and solve it. Then the magnetic field at the center is by mu naught by 2 Ni by R. This is the expression for the magnetic field at the center of the current carrying circular loop. And how the magnetic field varies with the distance. Let us know from this graph. Observe this graph. So the magnetic field is maximum at the center. Magnetic field at center is maximum and it decreases along the x-axis on either side as the distance from the center increases. Yes, in this session you have learnt about the motion of charge in magnetic field and Biot-Savart's law. In the next session we will continue with the Ampere's circuital law. Thank you.